Campaign 08 segment tonight, Conservative Talk Radio and the Republican Party. This year there is no establishment GOP candidate, so who is rooting for whom on the talk radio dial? Joining us now from Boston, Brian Maloney, who writes for the website Radio Equalizer, and from Los Angeles, Chris Ruddy, the editor of Newsmax, which chronicles conservative movement in the United States. All right, Mr. Ruddy, begin with you. Let's take the big kahuna, Rush Limbaugh. Apparently he's not real thrilled with anybody this year, correct?
Well, and even beyond that, Bill, he's made a stunning comment on Monday on his show saying that he might not even support the GOP nominee, whoever that candidate may be.
I don't believe
I think
that.
talk radio is in a bit of a midlife crisis right now, and they don't know where they are and who they should be backing, and it's bad, I think, for the Republican Party.
Now, Limbaugh doesn't like Huckabee, right? He doesn't like McCain. How does he feel about the more conservative Romney and Giuliani?
Well, I think he has stated some very positive things about Romney and Giuliani in the past. The problem is that Romney has been inconsistent on some of his conservative opinions that he now has. And of course, Ruddy has a background where he's been liberal on a number of social issues, typically not consistent with Reagan conservatism. And so there's no real candidate that carries that Reagan mantle. And Rush typifies many of these hosts. They are against everybody, but they're not for somebody.
How do you see Mr. Maloney about Limbaugh? Do you see him favoring anyone?
Well, I think that it's quite possible that he does favor anybody, but he does not want to tip his hand because that is perilous. That is dangerous for a major talk show host. By the way, the medium is as strong as ever. I don't see a midlife crisis here anywhere. I think that the hosts are really a reflection of the general public.
Well, why would it be dangerous for a guy like Limbaugh?
They're looking for somebody.
Why would it be dangerous for a guy like Limbaugh?
Well, you stick your neck.
Stick your neck out. He sticks his neck out all the time.
But Bill,
well, you stick your neck out.
One at a time.
Scandal.
Mr. Maloney, go ahead. One at a time. Mr. Maloney.
You stick your neck out and then there's some kind of scandal tomorrow. That could be risky. When you're completely sure about somebody, fine, but it is, you go back 20 years, hosts have generally not backed people during the primaries. Right. They wait until there's a nominee and then they go.
Go ahead, Mr. Ruddy.
Well, Rush Limbaugh has a history of strongly supporting candidates. He came out really strong for George Bush. Remember when John McCain won the primary in New Hampshire in 2000? I think that's part of the reason why Rush doesn't like McCain and McCain doesn't like Rush. Is how strong
now, Michael Reagan, obviously you mentioned Ronald Reagan and steps on Michael Reagan. Has he, Mr. Maloney, come out for anybody?
It really seems like he's supporting Romney. Tonight on his show, he was actually doing a call-in segment for people who support Romney to call in. It's right on the front of his website. So I'm thinking that that's where he's leaning. And I think that with Fred Thompson out of the race, that's where a number of hosts are now moving.
They're going to go to Romney? How do you see that,
think so.
Mr. Reddy?
Bill, Mike told Newsmax today that he's not endorsing any candidate. He's going to do what his father typically did, which was not get involved in primaries. Mike says something interesting, though. He's going to strongly support the GOP nominee, whoever that is, which is something very different.
Well, we would expect that.
Well, I'm going by his website. That's right
Mike
there.
Gallagher, he's another conservative guy. How do you see him, Mr. Maloney? Is he like somebody, don't like somebody?
Yeah, he is now going to apparently support Ruddy. He was another one that wanted to see Fred Thompson really mount a campaign. There's a lot of disappointment with the hosts right now. They wanted to see Fred Thompson really go out there and do something.
All right, so now he's with Ruddy. How about you, Mr. Ruddy? Do you see Gallagher leading a certain way?
Well, Mike has come out very strongly against Mike Huckabee, which is interesting because Mike Gallagher has a big following among Christian conservatives. But he says that Mike Huckabee is just too liberal on economic issues. This is the problem. All of the candidates seem to be deficient in one area. They're not
sure, but they always have that. All right, finally, Neil Bortz. Wait. Finally, I got to get through these guys. I got to get through these guys. So Neil Bortz does like Huckabee because of the tax situation that Bortz has championed, correct?
Well, he is really, I think he's made it clear that he does not think Rudy Giuliani is viable, for one. He also thought Fred Thompson's campaign was a disappointment. Now, Bortz is more of a libertarian. He's a little more of a wild card in this kind of mix here with this group that we're talking about, so anything could happen here.
Yeah, all right, but he has said very good things about Huckabee because of the tax rate, right, Mr. Huckabee?
Exactly, and he's getting a lot of criticism from some of his libertarian following.
All right, one more, real quick, 20 seconds each. I'll start with you, Mr. Ruddy, on Glenn Beck. Does he favor anybody?
He says, again, he's agnostic. He's not coming out, although he likes Rudy and Romney, but he's not endorsing yet.
You see it that way, Mr. Maloney?
Well, he's making some positive comments about Romney. But look, let's dispel some myths here. Talk radio is as viable as ever. The listeners are not mind-numbed robots. They make up their own minds.
Absolutely. I do talk radio every day.
South Carolina did not mean that talk radio is failing because of those results.
All right. Well, you know, I do talk radio every day. It's certainly a vibrant at the Radio Factor. Gentlemen, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Good to see you both.